So this poll, which we're calling a GenForward poll, is a partnership between the Black Youth Project at the University of Chicago and the AP NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. And it's sort of a first of its kind in that it's specifically intended not only to reach young people generally, but to reach, in particular, young people of color. This poll finds essentially that Clinton is still struggling to pick up the support of young people, and even young people of color. Of course, we know that African Americans and to a fairly large extent Hispanics were big supporters of Clinton in the primary, but this poll actually finds that young African Americans and Hispanics mostly supported Bernie Sanders in the primary, and that Clinton's having a tough time picking up Sanders supporters as her own. Only about half of them say that they're ready to say that they're going to support her in the general election. By a 54% to 39% margin, more young adults have an unfavorable view than a favorable view of Clinton. It found that African Americans and Asian Americans are more likely than not to have a favorable view of Clinton, but that just 49% of Hispanics and only 26% of young whites have a favorable view of Clinton. The poll also found that most young adults, and this cut across racial and ethnic lines, consider Clinton to be untrustworthy. So we asked young people to tell us what were the top issues that might decide their support for political candidates this year. And we found that a couple emerged on top for most young people, including education, which was the top issue across the board. For young African Americans, racism is about tied with education as the top issue facing the country. And at the same time, police brutality is about tied with economic growth as another top issue facing the country.